In these months, we've spoken many times about Kopa, but what about his friends and the lions he knew? In this video, we are going to talk about a lion who spent a lot of time with him. A very important lion, despite not being well known by the community. Today, for the first time, we're going to discover who he is and what's his story. This is Afua, best friend of Kopa. Afua is a young lion that was mentioned in the book A Snake in the Grass from The Lion King 6 New Adventures. If you're interested in it, here is what happened. During his childhood, Afua and Kopa were best friends, but things started to get complicated after Afua befriended Biba, a cheetah cub, whom he started to hang out with more often than he did with Kopa. Kopa's feelings were hurt because of this, but it was till Afua started to constantly talk about Biba that Kopa decided that he would never speak to him again. As Kopa runs away from Afua, crying but angry at the same time, Timon and Pumbaa spot him in the distance and ask him what's wrong. Kopa didn't want to tell them, but finally, after insisting, he explains them the situation. He tells them that he was left alone because Afua wanted to hang out with Biba more than he did with him. This reminded Timon and Pumbaa of a story from when they were younger, in which both of them and Simba all got into a huge argument that surged from jealousy of each other. Kopa didn't take it well at first, but after hearing to the whole story, he figures out his mistake and learns to forgive Afua, realizing that he didn't mean any harm by hanging out and saying good things about Biba. After all this, Kopa and Afua became best friends again. What you just heard was part of the plot from A Snake in the Grass. But if you're wondering what's Afua's full story, how he met Kopa and what happened to them, remember to leave a like and stick to the video, because now I'm going to tell you Afua's story. In a pride situated behind the mountains, this pride was called the Mbali Pride. There was a king and a queen. They were Malka and Tama. Malka, Simba's stepbrother, met Tama in his early adulthood, while he was visiting the Pridelands after a long time. Malka and Tama had a son called Afua, which also means to save. He was a smart but lively cub, and loved to play with the other lions. But one day, it all changed. All the inhabitants from the Mbali Pride had to migrate elsewhere because the whole territory was being flooded due to the melting of the ice and snow of the mountains. Malka and Tama, along with Afua, they headed to the Pridelands as everyone, including Simba, a very long time ago told Malka that he's welcome to go there whenever he wants. Afua, for the first time, was very depressed. He had lost his friends, the places that he loved, and all the things he used to play with. When they arrived, Afua didn't even want to speak or explore inside the pride, till a young lion showed up. They had about the same age, and Afua immediately knew that he was going to be his new playmate. This cub was Kopa, the son of Simba. While the years passed, they've always been best friends, with some minor collisions and misunderstandings from now and then, but nothing that couldn't be solved. During this time, where everything felt like problems didn't exist, the threats from Scar and the hyenas were gone years ago before Afua and Kopa were even born, and the Pridelands looked like the perfect land. In reality, Zero was still working out a plan to avenge Scar's death. One day, like any other, Afua and Kopa were playing hide and seek, but Afua didn't find Kopa anywhere. At first, he thought that he was hiding very well, but several hours passed. Kopa didn't come back to the Pride Rock that night. Simba, Afua, Malka, Tama and the whole Pride searched for Kopa. For days, weeks, months, he was gone. Zero was the responsible, and to make Simba suffer, she admitted that she killed his son. That was the moment when she got banned from the Pridelands, along with her followers. For several months, every day, Afua explored and searched for Kopa in the outsides of the Pride. He could not live without him. He risked his life several times till his parents forbade him to stray too far and made him promise to stay where they could always see him. At this point, Afua decided that when he'll grow enough, he will search for Kopa and lose his life if necessary. He never believed that Kopa was dead. He knew that if he was, he would have already found him. Years later, a notice came from beyond the mountains. The Imbali Pride was finally habitable again. Malka and Tama were now ready to come back, but Afua, grown enough to make his own decisions, refuses to go with them and decided to stay in the Pridelands. His only goal and desire in life was to find Kopa. Years passed, and one night, Afua received a notice from Simba. His parents died of old age. In this moment, Afua decided to give it all to find his lost friend, because he didn't want to see Kopa's parents die without seeing their son for at least one last time, because Simba and Nala were old too. Afua left the Pridelands and didn't come back, till one day, finally, after years of suffering, he found his friend, his almost brother Kopa. Neither one could believe it. It was the best day of their lives. Kopa lived as a nomad during all these years, and he was so thankful to Afua. During the way home, they passed the rest of the day remembering all the memories and experiences they lived together. At the end of the day, they arrived to the Pridelands. Zazu from the Pride Rock saw the two lions stepping in and immediately shouted to Simba and Nala, "They are back!" Simba quickly got up, in confusion and not even understanding the situation. He ran to the edge of the Pride Rock to watch with clarity. He couldn't believe his eyes. Both Afua and Kopa were back. In the next weeks, Kopa took the throne and place of King of the Pridelands, along with Kovu and Kiara, but Kopa said, "I will accept my place as king, but only under one condition, that Afua shares it with me." Everyone agreed. Kopa welcomed his friend to the throne. He told Afua that his bravery and courage made him earn it. Every animal was glad of this decision, and there's been peace in the Pridelands ever since, for a very long time. This was my own story about Afua, but you're probably wondering what will happen to him in the future. There are some theories about that, and I will show them to you right now. You can then tell me which one you think is the most probable. Number 1. Afua refuses to become king. According to this theory, Afua would deny his place as king of the Pridelands. He says he feels like he doesn't deserve it, and everything he has done for Kopa came from his heart, and not with the intention to receive something in return. He will still support Kopa in every task he needs help with. Number 2. Afua returns to his own pride. After Afua accomplished this goal, which was to find and save Kopa despite the doubt of him being dead or alive, he decided to come back to his homeland, the Imbali Pride. Afua's parents, who were the previous king and queen of that pride, since they are no longer in this world, the Imbali Pride is in need of a new king and a new queen to keep the peace in the territory. Afua will return to the Imbali Pride and become king. In the future, he will find a mate who will then become the new queen. Number 3. Afua stays as king of the Pridelands. Since Afua saved Kopa's life, Kopa really wants Afua to be king at his side. Afua accepts Kopa's invite, and the Pridelands will become the safest and biggest pride of all. with one queen, one prince, and two kings. Afua will use the same bravery, courage, and passion that he used while searching for Kopa, to rule the Pride in the best way possible and meet every need in terms of food, livability, and peace to every animal in the Pride Lands. What do you think is going to happen in the future? And what's your theory? Tell me in the comments or in my Discord server. If you want to hear the full story of a snake in the grass, let me know and I'll make a video about it. I hope you enjoyed the story, and if so, leave a like, I really appreciate it. I'm Askari and I wish you a good night.